Hey everybody, it's Tim Robertson from Oberon Americas, and here is another episode of the Internet of Printers. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go over the local agent installation for MPS Monitor. What this does is it allows you to capture information off of USB devices that may be in, home offices and such. So you want to be able to bring those customers, their toner, and their click counts and such back into your arena so you can either send them toner, create revenue streams that way, and also to ensure that you're billing properly for maybe the devices you're leasing out to them. So this local agent installation is really going to go over that really good and show you all of the steps that need to be taken. Now, with some automation, you can make all of these steps real easy. I'm going to go ahead and just break it down like a book series I'm reading, or also I think it's a military reference. I'm going to break it down Barney style. So anyways, first thing we need to do is install SNMP. Now, depending upon the operating system that you're running, there's a couple of different ways to install SNMP. The specific SNMP that I need to have installed is through the settings panel. Depending upon your version of Windows 10, you could also need to install it a different way. And inside of the documentation, I'll show you later on that we actually cover that. So I'm just going to go ahead and get right at what I need to do. So if I click here and I type in settings, and I go to my settings, and then I click apps. Now, then I click optional features here. So once I click optional features, I scroll down, I see that my SNMP is not here. I click add. I scroll down until I find, there it is, Simple Network Management Protocol. And I click install. Now this takes a few minutes to install, so I can beat around the bush, or we can play some music, or I don't know. Anyways, I'll probably cut this out. Okay, we're back here. So it hasn't even been more than a minute, and you can see it just ended there. So that's great. Our SNMP is installed. Now we have to go configure it. So I'm going to go ahead and close this, and I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to type in services. So once the services open, I'm going to go ahead and open that. I'm going to click in here, and I'm just going to type in SN. Oh, brought me right to the guy I'm looking for, SNMP service. Open the properties. Now I want to go to the agent tab, and I'll just put my name in here. And then Maine, because that's where I am. I'm located in Maine. So we check off these check boxes here, then we go to security. We make sure that it's set for public or whatever the customer has. It is important that we understand it though, but we could see this is set for public. So what we also want to do is say except for many hosts. You can configure these as needed as well, but for this test I'm just going to say for any host. So we go ahead and click apply, and we click OK. So great, now the SNMP service is installed and configured. Okay, now that the SNMP service is installed, we're going to go ahead and move to installing and configuring the local agent and the DCA. So to begin, we're just going to go ahead and go to MPS Monitor. We're going to click on Login. Then we're going to go to our dealer, which is Oberon America's Training. Then we're going to go to Customers, and we're going to say Create a New Customer. We're going to say this is the demo customer. Let's call this one Demo C. United States. Contact person is going to be myself. Email address. There's additional information. I recommend that you populate it. We're not going to go into that right now. Just going to show you how to get this local agent installed. So I do have an HP device, so I'm going to go ahead and check off the HP Smart Device Services. Now, once I click Save, I'm going to be brought to the connector screen here. and it's going to want me to download the connector. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and make some adjustments to my configuration. So I'm going to go over here to connectors, and then I'm going to go up here to configurations. And then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the default, and I'm going to uncheck it, and I'm going to save it so it's not saved as manual or enabled. So then I'm going to go back to default, and I'm going to say create a new. And then I'm going to drop this down, and I'm going to call it USB local agent. I'm going to enable it. I'm going to say automatically assign. I'm going to change the show advanced parameters. I'm going to uncheck the active file execution, and then I'm also going to check off the enable scanning of local PCs with Explorer local agent installed. So now that that's checked, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click on save. Once that's saved, we need to add the IP address of where the local agent is installed, which workstation. You can add ranges of them or just individuals. For this purpose, we're just going to go ahead and add the individuals. So if we click in here and we type in CMD and we open up a command prompt and we do an IP config, we can see my IP address is 192.168.1.107. Going to go ahead and close that. Going to click add here. I'm going to go ahead and type it in 192.168.1.107. So now this configuration is only going to be looking at this device. We need to make sure that we have a data collection schedule. So I'm just going to click add, and we're going to say this is about 5 minutes from now. So we're going to say 10:45, save. So now that we have a time schedule, an IP address range, a USB, and that it is enabled, we're going to go ahead and click save. And then we're going to back out. Then we're going to go to the connector. Then we're going to download the connector. This compiles the connector based off of the user, and it downloads to your download folder. Once it's complete, I'm just going to click on the zip file and have it open. Once it's open, I'm just going to go ahead and right click and say open. Once the tool's launched, I'm going to go ahead and close this dialog box, and I'm going to minimize this so I don't need it open. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Brings me to the wizard. A couple of things going to be installed in here: MPS monitor and HP Jet Advantage, because I picked that I have the HP device at the beginning when I was creating my customer. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. You can see some information here about the customer. We click next. We click next again. We accept the licensing agreement. We click next. Now the HP Jet Advantage, we click next. We click its license agreement. We click next, and it begins installing. Okay, that piece is installed. We're going to the HP Jet Advantage part now. We click next, and it's going to do some evaluating here. Okay, once it's done evaluating, it'll prompt you for a directory you want it installed on, and this is going to be the program files x86. We're not going to change this. We're just going to click next, and then we're going to click install. And then we wait for it to finish again. Okay, finished successfully. We're going to go ahead and click next, and then we're going to go ahead and click finish. So now we're going to go back into MPS monitor and take a look at the connector and see what we got. So if we go ahead and open up MPS monitor, we click on the customer, and then we click back on connectors. We can see there's no configuration assigned to this yet, so we have to assign the configuration, but the connector is installed. So I'm going to go ahead and say manage configurations. Then I'm going to go to my local USB agent, and then I'm going to assign it to the laptop for the DCA. I'm going to go ahead and click save. Then I'm going to go back to connectors. Okay, I have a configured connector. Everything looks good here. So now we're going to move to installing the local agent. So I'm going to minimize this here, and then I have a Word document here. So I wanted to point out that we have an installation file. Then we also have a silent installation file. and then we have some documentation. I'll go over the documentation after, as it's important, and we'll talk about some different things. But for this purpose, I'm just going to move to the installation of the local agent. We're not going to use this island in this instance. We'll talk more about that in the documentation as well. So I've already downloaded this file. I don't need to click on it or anything. I'm just going to go ahead and go to my downloads folder. You can see here the file's been downloaded. I'm going to go ahead and right click on it, and I'm going to say run as an administrator. I don't need these dialog boxes open, so I'm going to minimize them. I get my language prompt again, and I click OK. There's my directory that the local agent's going to be installed on. I click next. Note that it's program files and not x86. Here's the directory. We click install. Okay, the local agent's installed. Let's go verify that it's installed properly. So we can do that by just quickly going to our services, and I already have that open in here. And then if we go back up to the top, we can see that the Explorer local agent has been installed and it's running, and then we want to make sure that our SNMP is still up and running, and it is. So we're really good at this point. So some additional steps. We have to wait now for the connector to actually see the device. So if we go back in here to the connectors, you can see that the connector's installed, it has it, but it just still hasn't picked up a device. So if it's been some time, it usually takes 5 to 10 minutes for the device to show up, but if you're impatient like me, you can go ahead and run some commands and do some tests. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to minimize this, and I'm going to go back to a directory here I already have created in a batch file. Let's take a look at this batch file. So if you look at this batch file, I simply change to our local Explorer directory, and then I run the local agent executable with a command line switch of R, and then I write the results out to the log file. Basically what this does is it tells the local agent to go walk the USB device, actually walk the entire workstation and determine what kind of devices are on it for printers. So if I go ahead and just say close this and I run this, run it as an administrator. I don't know if you could hear it, but my device just clicked back here, so she's running some information here and checking it out. So let's go see what it's doing. If we go to the C drive here, and we go to the program files directory, and then we go to the MPS monitor directory, and then we go to the local agent directory, we can see there's a log.txt file. It's writing to it right now, so we just got to wait. So what I like to do is I like to force the scan. I come in here and I click on Scan Now, and this is under the connection section, and this just tells it to force it to go out there. It helps with the device recognition and having the device show up as quickly as possible. So, our command prompt is gone. That means our log file has completed. So let's see what we got inside of our log file. It's 16K, which is really good. And then we can also see that our Explorer LA has also got some information, and this is the actual file that gets read from the API from the service to service. So if you look here, we have our log file, has information about all the printers installed on the workstation, and then you can see down here that I have my USB printer. Go ahead and close that. So this log file, if we are having issues, it can be used to pass along to the support team to have them help understand, what's going on with the local agent and what's going on and why it couldn't see the device and so forth. So yeah, you might want to run this, and if you're having any issues, send it into support along with a ticket that you create through the system. Let's go back into MPS Monitor and see if the device is there. So I'm going to click back here, then I'm going to click on Devices, Still no device. So let's just take a little break here. It's 10:45 right now. I'll come back once the device has been seen. Okay, here we are. Device is back. So it showed we've installed our local agent. The device has shown up. We're able to access it. We can see all of the information for the device. Some things to note here in the department field. You can see that it shows the operating system of the DCA, and then also what local agent version is installed. So that's some good information. And then you can see here the system name, and then you can see underscore USB tells you it's a USB device. This is the IP of my workstation. So yes, this is the device. It's shown up under our connector, under our devices, under our customer, just as expected. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the documentation that's provided, and I can show you some instances of things in there. So if we go ahead and go to the browser here, and we go to the local agent install guide here, let's just start up at the top and let's see what it does. So in this guide, we got like at the beginning, how to install the SNMP services, and then also how to configure them. So we use this method, use the SNMP Windows 10 or later, and that's what my version is running. You can automate these with PowerShell scripts to have them install automatically with a single click, and then you can run the local agent with switches to install and configure the information you need as well. So if you go to installing the local agent, of course, there's the GUI, and then also talks about the silent installation. And then there's also some configuration files as well as some troubleshooting steps. A couple of things I just really want to show you here is the silent installation. So if we look at this, we have a way to silently install it with some command line switches. So read this, and if you wanted to use it for a silent install, you can do it that way. If you wanted to do an uninstallation of the silent, you would use the /u with this command. Some other information in regards to the files that are being downloaded is this Explorer LA file, .ini. You can see these are the times it's actually going to walk and talk to your USB device. So at 8 a.m. and then at 1:45 p.m., it's going to actually do that. You can adjust that by going into the INI file here and adding additional time simply by just copying the line itself and then making it a subsequent entry, Control V, and then changing this to number 3. And let's just say we also want it at 1845. So we got it at 8, 1, and 6:45. So, and then we say file, and then this is important. So this directory is inside a program file. So when you try to save the file, it's not going to let you do it right away. So unless you opened up Notepad underneath the as an administrator, it's not going to let you save it. So what we'll do is we'll save it out to a directory, and then we'll copy it back in. So I'm going to go ahead and say file, save here, and it'll prompt me. So I'm just going to go to this MPS directory here that I have already waiting. I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to close this. Then I'm going to go back in here. So this is the directory I want. So I'm just going to go find my one directory. There's my LA. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back. I'm going to paste it in, and then it's going to ask for that administrative access now. Yes, right here, continue. Okay, so I've adjusted that. So some additional information inside of this, inside of the guide is we have how to exclude some specific vendors if need be, as well as there's my command that I ran for my walk, so it talks about that as well for troubleshooting steps. And then there's also another SNMP tool here that you can download to get some more information about the actual OID information, the OID information inside of the system. I've used this. This is very helpful, and if you're going to have to submit a ticket, it's going to be recommended that you actually download this and run this command and get this log file for them. So just keep that in mind. Steps are pretty clear. Just make sure that this is case sensitive, public here. And when you run it, just gather the log file, zip it up, and attach it to the ticket. In addition, we also want to make sure that our firewall SNMP service is open, and that's UDP port 161. Okay, that's everything on how to install the MPS Monitor local agent. My name is Timothy Robertson, and I'm with the training department at Oberon Americas, and this has been another episode of the Internet of Printers. If you're interested in installing and configuring the MPS Monitor local agent, you should be successful using this video. However, if you'd like more information about the local agent for MPS Monitor, or you would like us to handle the installation for you, please reach out to us at support@oberonamericas.com. Thank you for watching the video. I really appreciate your time. If you like the videos, please consider subscribing and clicking like. If you want to see more videos, please click the notification bell so you're notified when new videos have been released. Thanks again, and have a great day.